Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm just following up on the my original video about my expectations for Forbidden Door, and now the card's all set. So I guess this is a preview of Forbidden Door and what I thought of what I think of the card and what I thought of the build and everything. I will say that, man, I was completely wrong versus what I thought was going to happen, what my expectations were. And yeah, I guess it makes sense. I thought they were going to do something like how WWE does their Survivor Series with champ versus champ. But instead, I guess I can understand why they didn't do that. They didn't want to have one champion lose, thus the company making it look bad. So having two matches for one AEW title match and one IWGP title match makes a lot more sense. This way you're not butting heads and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so let's go through this card. So a couple of buy-in pre-show matches were announced. So let's go through this. You got Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus El Desperado and Kamiaru. To be honest, I don't know who this is. So yeah, I don't know. I know who El Desperado is, but I'm definitely just expecting Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland to win. Let me quickly Google this guy. I think I know who he is. I'm pretty bad with names when it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And yeah, after a quick Google, doesn't look too recognizable. I'm sure if I watched New Japan more rigorously, then I'd probably know who he is. But yeah, the next one is Yoshihashi and Goto versus Aaron Solo and QT Marshall. Factory, I think that's their stable name. Again, not much of a big deal this match is to me. This is literally just trying to get as many people on the card as possible, and I guess I could say that in terms of bigger star power, I would say Team New Japan here. So basically 1-1 so far. And then you got the Max Caster and the Gun Club versus LA Dojo. And I guess, like, I don't watch New Japan Strong, so I guess this is just like, here's a bunch of New Japan Strong talent, some young guys also. Again, I don't know. I guess in terms of like bigger name, I would say AEW guys are bigger. But I can't really comment on this match at all. I don't know who anybody is for the LA Dojo. Kevin Knight, the DKC, Alex Collin, and Yuya Umaru? Don't know. So yeah, overall the pre-show is very much exactly that. It's a pre-show. Kind of sad for Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland to not have bigger matches and just basically placed in a hey, at least you're wrestling kind of position. Poor Keith. Now let's go to the main card, and this is where all the bread and butter is, and it's kind of weird. Before I even get into that, like, I don't know. I know there's a lot of politics with like the Mexican wrestling company there that's not allowing some of the guys to wrestle, like the Lucha, Ray Phoenix and stuff, which is a big disappointment. And I also see like no Sonata, no NATO is a very big one. You have LIJ in a match, but it's only two members of LIJ, and the rest of them are not there. So I guess maybe you can't just fit everybody in a card, but missing NATO is a big one, just given the fact that NATO is one of New Japan's biggest talents. I'm really surprised he never made it to the card. Also, like, addressing the injuries, like, those injuries are massive. Like, everyone from Punk to you name it, it's an endless list of injuries that really did prevent this card from really excelling. But I guess it is what it is, right? The show must go on regarding injuries. And then, like, it seems like this was put together last minute and they didn't have time to really have a lot of quick booking. I will say though, on that comment, I been loving Dynamite. This is what I always wanted envisioned with AEW. Just like one week you have Ospreay, the next week you have Okada. Like, that's pretty awesome stuff. So let's get into the actual show itself. You got the Young Bucks and El Phantasmo versus Darby Allin and, like I said, the two members of LRJ, including Shingo. Obviously, not much of a build. This was literally thrown together on a quick little interview that Sting and Darby had, and they're called like the Dudes with Attitude. Yeah, I think could be a really good match with the Bucks and everything. The Bucks are great. You have Darby there, so they obviously want to showcase this match. You have somebody like a legend like Sting. Then you have the Jericho match versus Kingston match. This is kind of a weird match to me. Jericho and Suzuki and Guevara. That's a great feud. I love my Suzuki, and his entrance is awesome. I do notice that it says that Shota Umino, I gotta say, I know he's like Moxley's like hand selected like guy or whatever that he chose to build up, but I haven't watched New Japan too much, so I did watch Wrestle Kingdom, I watched Dominion, I watched Wrestling Daitaku, but he hasn't been on any of those, so I do remember the whole like Moxley and the Young Lion thing, and that's all I really remember from him. Can't really say much about him, to be honest with you. I guess Moxley thought he was a big person, but yeah, and then Wheeler Yuta, of course. Just kind of seems like a random, like, throw together some big names. Jericho's going to sell the draw of this match, and I expect Jericho to win this match for sure. You got Jericho, and then you got one of the pillars and Sammy, and then you got Suzuki to top that, and then against two younger guys and Yuta and Shota, and then you got Eddie Kingston. So like, I don't think this is gonna go Eddie Kingston's way. Of course, you got Revenge coming the following Wednesday, Blood and Guts. Zack Sabre Jr. versus an opponent handpicked by Bryan Danielson. So the internet's going crazy on who this can be. Is it going to be the ROH champion? Is it going to be Cesaro? Is it going to be Johnny Gargano? Yeah, I don't know. I think no matter what Zack Sabre Jr. wins, for one, they are kind of in the middle of pushing him, and given the fact that it's a mystery opponent, it would be kind of weird if it would be different if it's Bryan, right? I think Bryan would have won because he's way bigger than Zack Sabre Jr. But if it's like Cesaro or somebody, then it's a little bit of a different story, right? Like, as long as the match is good, whoever Zack Sabre Jr. is facing will be perfectly fine. And then he can showcase himself again in the Blood and Guts. Very two different, one technical match, one hardcore match. So it should be good. I don't know. I hope it's Cesaro, because not just because of this match, but more or less because of the Blood and Guts match. Everyone has always wanted Cesaro to be like, he's that next big thing, and just never happened in WWE. And when you thought it did, they just said, okay, you can face Rollins at Mania, and then you can face Roman for the title at like WrestleMania Backlash last year, but then you're going back on the bench, and they never did anything with him. So here's an opportunity to really have him get that spot that he deserved. Then you got the winner takes all match for the IWGP and Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, and that's you got the United Empire, Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan. You got FTR, and then you got Roppongi Vice. And I don't know, when you look at these names, this is going to be a great match. I think like Cobb alone, like, he's had so many great matches. I'm not the biggest fan on Great O'Khan. I just remember from Wrestle Kingdom a few years ago, he had a match against Tanahashi in that match was just maybe the worst Tanahashi match I saw. I'm just maybe not a fan of his style or whatever. FTR, like, probably the biggest tag team right now. Everyone always talks about them, and they put on classics all the time. And then, of course, Roppongi Vice, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta. Just a good high-flying team. So very, like, you got a little bit of everything here. And I think FTR is going to win. They become both the Ring of Honor and the IWGP title, and should be good for New Japan. And yeah, we'll see where that goes. The AEW All-Atlantic Championship match. You got Clark Connors, who was a replacement for Ishii because Ishii was injured. And I don't know who Clark Connors is. Is he a strong competitor? At very least, he's going to get some attention if he's exclusively on Strong and Young Lion of the LA Dojo, I guess. So, good for him. I don't know much about him. I will be seeing his first match tomorrow, and hopefully he's good. Then you got Malachi Black, Miro, and Pac. When you just look at those names, each and every one deserves a championship. And each and every one of them were not taken as serious as Vince, and all three of them could have been champion. Maybe not the champion, but could have been a transitional champion. There's like NXT, Aleister Black, or Malachi Black now, killed it as champion. You had Miro and Rusev Day and everything, and like Vince just doesn't like cruiserweight, so Neville had that. When I look at these three names, though, I think, given the fact that it's all Atlantic, I think you just got to give it to Pac. For one, he's on the Atlantic from being in the UK and everything, but secondly, he deserves a championship and some recognition. He kills it constantly and just deserves it. The IWGP United States Championship match, which Orange Cassidy versus Ospreay. This is a match that got thrown together versus the original plans, and that's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. That the original plans had to be changed due to the CMLL. I'm not gonna pretend I know too much about the details that are not letting Andrade face Will Ospreay. I think Andrade versus Will Ospreay would have been just a crazy match, and then this is where you could have done, you had Roosh, and then you could have done something with Naito. It would have been perfect, and we don't get that moment as a result, which is super unfortunate. But Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay is a fun match. I don't know my, like I said, and I keep saying it, that, like, I don't know, I'm not up to date on my New Japan stuff, but this match in general seems a little bit, I don't want to say beneath Ospreay, but essentially beneath Ospreay. He was like IWGP champion last year. I think he lost it to Shingo. And he was like, he faced Okada at Wrestle Kingdom a couple years ago. He's had all these big Wrestle Kingdom moments, and they just kind of like, now he, at least on this, he looks like he's in the mid-card, just going for the US title. But again, I'm not up to date. And Orange Cassidy is good. He just, injury really set him back to the point where he didn't get that attention. He's good. I don't know what to expect from this match. It should be fun, though, at very least. The goofy antics and hopefully a lot of high flying and everything. So this is the only match. This next match is the AEW Women's Championship match, Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. Obviously, it's just AEW versus AEW. And that's simply because of how wrestling is done over in Japan, and they don't have a women's division because they have full companies like Stardom that have women. So maybe unfortunate that AEW couldn't negotiate to have someone from Stardom, but it is what it is. I'm looking forward to this match. I think both are great. I would like to see Toni win, but we'll see how it goes for sure. I'm expecting a really good match with this. Then you have a IWGP World Heavyweight match, and this match could be just absolutely amazing. A fatal four-way: Adam Cole, Hangman, Okada, and White. I have high expectations for this match. If this match gets the time, then this match can be just a show stealer for sure. And I'm expecting a lot of things, but ultimately I'm not expecting Hangman or Cole to win the IWGP Heavyweight title unless they're planning to do something crazy for Wrestle Kingdom. But yeah, I'm basically expecting Jay White to retain, and wouldn't make much sense to have Okada in there. Why lose it if he's just going to win it back the next pay-per-view type logic? And I mean, that does happen, but I'm totally expecting Jay White to win and then him to be champion at least till Wrestle Kingdom. Last match, obviously, for the interim AEW World Championship match, you got Tanahashi versus Moxley. It's kind of been a long time coming, and I don't know what to expect of this match. When Moxley did join New Japan, you were always kind of just waiting. Like, Moxley he was kind of in the mid card, not doing these big main event type matches, and then it's finally happening where he is facing one of the pillars of New Japan, and I don't know what to expect with this match either, and I hope it's really good, and I'm definitely expecting Moxley to win, and then Moxley versus Punk down the road. I guess there could be a swerve, quote, where Tanahashi wins, and then maybe Adam Cole wins the IWGP Championship, and they just trade for a little while. That would be a shocker, and nobody would expect that. So, yeah, that's basically the card. I think, just injuries and politics really prevented this card from really being what I wanted, and just like some things that are, I don't know why, but like I said, there's no NATO, which is unfortunate, and there's no straight LIJ. I would like to see like LIJ versus the Jericho Appreciation Society. That would have been a really fun match. Stuff like that. I would have liked to seen Kota Ibushi and Omega, but both are injured, and then there's all the drama that happened with Kota Ibushi recently. So I don't know what's going on with Kota really, and when he'll return. I think he's out with a shoulder injury, in addition to everything that happened with Kota. So I'm not expecting him to appear. Maybe Omega might appear in some capacity. It is unfortunate that Omega can't appear, because when you think of New Japan and you think of AEW and you think of a joint pay-per-view, how can you not think of Omega, right? And the fact that he's not working is unfortunate for sure. And I don't know. Moving forward, though, you have now that this Forbidden Door has been broken outright with crazy New Japan talent and main event talent, and given the fact that this, generally speaking, feels more like an AEW pay-per-view, I feel AEW has to return the favor when it comes to Wrestle Kingdom. So, like, there might be a Forbidden Door 2, but really moving forward, like, I would like to see this be the norm for AEW and New Japan, just having the roster intersect with each other, and in one capacity or another. Like, you never know. I would like to see Wrestle Kingdom to be basically Forbidden Door 2, maybe not so much, but having a couple of cross-promotional matches. And I still want my Golden Lovers reunion, and until I get that, I really want it. And then I would love to see the original LIJ Mexico reunion, and unfortunately that can't happen at this Forbidden Door pay-per-view, and I don't know if it can even happen at Wrestle Kingdom, but we'll see. I guess they could have done it on a Dynamite. So what are you guys' thoughts on this pay-per-view now that the card is all done, and do you think my predictions are right? Okay, well, let me know, guys, and enjoy the pay-per-view tomorrow.